Welcome everyone to this new episode of the Privacyrules PrivacyEspresso series. Today I'm joined by Luiza Sato from the law firm TozziniFreire Advogados from Brazil. And together we are going to speak about the topic of gaming and privacy for a variety of matters, including the fact that there are so new bills coming from Brazil, and we would like to know if there is some sort of relation or consideration that we have to do under the data protection point of view. As many of you know, gaming and data protection are two very close sectors because a lot of data are exchanged in this environment, let's say. And Brazil is one of the most relevant markets, considered one of the 5 largest, if I'm not mistaken, markets in the field. So definitely something that we should be aware of, and people in Brazil should be aware of, as well as many are probably gamers that use games as well. So I think that we can start immediately to have an overview on this very interesting topic with Luiza, that I thank for being with us. So Luiza, can you just provide us with an initial, let's say, overview on what companies located outside Brazil but offer games to Brazilian citizens? What should they be concerned about under the privacy perspective and the Brazilian law, the LGPD?
Perfect. Thank you for having me one more time, Alessandro. I'm really happy to be here and to discuss this topic. As a gamer myself and a data protection professional, this really hits home for me. So yeah, let's start with that. When will the Brazilian law apply for the gaming industry? This is valid for all companies, so not only for companies in the gaming industry. The Brazilian General Data Protection Law, LGPD, will apply in 3 cases. The first one, when the personal data processing operation occurs in the Brazilian territory. 2, when the purpose of the processing is offering provision of goods and services such as games to individuals located in the Brazilian territory. So this has nothing to do with citizenship of the players, but where they are located, similar to the GDPR. And 3, when the personal data object of the processing have been collected in the Brazilian territory. So in these 3 cases, whenever we have these situations, the LGPD, the Brazilian law, will apply. And just as the main concerns, of course, the company will have to perform an assessment to see if any internal proceedings should be amended to comply with the LGPD. But I could list at least 4 main concerns, being the first one, the privacy policy, because this is something that is very public. So under the LGPD, some specific content has to be there for transparency reasons. Also, appoints in a DPO under the LGPD, all companies have to do this, except for a small business. And still in that case, we have many exceptions on that. The DPO does not have to be a Brazilian or Portuguese speaker, but there has to be a DPO appointed for these data processing activities. Also, the processing of minors' personal data has a lot of requirements, but we have spoken about this in a prior PrivacyEspresso. And finally, a 4th one that I could name, cross-border data transfers. This happens a lot, as you said in the beginning, and those transfers should be made under specific requirements.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks for this brief introduction. And of course, I invite everyone listening to us also to watch the other espresso we had on minors, because this is another very close topic, not just to data privacy, but also to gaming, because as we know, there are many minors that plays on the internet as well. Speaking about the practical, you already provided some, tips, but what are, from the one side, the risks for companies not complying with this regulation in the gaming sector, and what should they do to protect themselves?
All right. So as I said, it's really recommended that an assessment be made if the company is offering games to the Brazilian territory to make it compliant with the Brazilian applicable laws and regulations, not only data protection ones, but also consumer ones and also internet related ones. So this is really important. But it's also very important that this be done with a professional that actually understands about the gaming industry, because when you make a lot of amendments in your game, it could lose, the attraction to players and affect the playability. Again, as a gamer myself, I have, given up of playing many games because of the lawyer things that were involved there. But we could also look at it in a different way. When you offer a product or a service, games included, that actually comply with the laws, it actually becomes more attractive to your public in general. So this is no different for the players. If they understand that their personal data are being used for not great reasons, they could give up playing your game. So this is really important. This assessment should be made. And in Brazil, we have also spoken about this in a previous PrivacyEspresso. Penalties are already being imposed by our data protection authority. So the industry should be really, if not, if they don't really care about the playability of the attraction of the players, which I really think they should look for, they should also be concerned about the sanctions that are already being imposed in Brazil.
Of course, all things that needs to be carefully considered, and it was a great point to always, try to receive consultants and support from someone that knows well the sector, because in many cases, and this is probably the best part for lawyers, to find a way not to affect too much the activities and the services of their clients. So, good to hear from a lawyer as you are that you know and care about this. I think it's essential. Going back to gaming purely, is there any news, any new regulation? Because basically we are also here for that as legals. So any update from your side?
Okay, so we have a new bill of law being discussed in the Congress right now. It's really a hot topic in Brazil, but it mostly discusses the nature of a game, if it's a software, an audio-visual work, because this will affect how those games are going to be taxed. In addition to that, the nature of the game, if it involves luck or not, because in Brazil, you have a lot of restrictions as to games that involve luck. So this bill of law deals with that. So really not the core of our discussion today, which is privacy and data protection matters. On that, the Brazilian DPA, the ANPD, has recently issued a very simple guideline on the processing of personal data from minors, which I think matters a lot for this discussion today. And we have also spoken about this in our prior PrivacyEspresso, and we are expecting further actions from the authority on this, on the processing of minors' data, and other important topics for this discussion for the gaming industry, such as regulations of cross-border data transfers, when to prepare a data protection impact assessment, and what should be included there, information security measures, what companies should be concerned about and what they should implement, and also, of course, this is a very hot topic right now, regulations on artificial intelligence.
Absolutely, absolutely, and there is definitely, as you were rightly saying, a strong connection between gaming and privacy. So maybe we can expect in the near future the Brazilian DPA to clarify and create the bridges between the two laws. But of course, it's relevant and important to already know both of them. And it was great that you mentioned the fact that there are many other bills that comes into play, not just for privacy, but also for minors. I mean, that's law. That's how it works. There are lots of relationship between the various bills and documents that you have, and you need to be aware of all of them. That's why we normally advise to ask support from lawyers that really know the country and the various regulations that are involved in that country in order to be always up to date on all the requirements that are needed. Luiza, it was a pleasure speaking with you. We are running out of our time, so thanks a lot for giving us this brief presentation and explanation on what's happening in Brazil and the relationship between those various topics. I really look forward to see you in our next PrivacyEspresso, and also our audience. Thanks you all for being with us today. Bye everyone, and bye Luiza.
Bye, thank you.